Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to another edition of Community Conversations at Mohammed-Your. I'm your host, Imam Muhammad, resident Imam of Mohammed-Your. We thank you all for tuning in on Facebook and YouTube. We ask you also to join us on our website at www.masjidmuhammad.org. That's www.masjidmuhammadnoor.org. Alhamdulillah, today we're here with our dear brother, Imam Abdulmalik Muhammad, and inshallah we'll have a brief conversation about our community concerns, about brotherhood, and about the time that we're living in, inshallah. And so we invite you all to share with a friend. If you have any questions, you're also welcome to share your questions. The Imam said he's open to asking questions, inshallah. He said whatever we're willing to do to accommodate, inshallah. So just a brief story, and then I'll let him introduce himself. How this came about, as I shared with him, one of our community members shared with us the event that's going on tomorrow. There's a brothers meeting as well as a public address. And the concern was about unity in our community. And so that might be one of our first questions, inshallah, after he introduces himself. What is unity in our community? But before I go into that, I just wanted to share, I had a reminiscent moment, I guess, even before the moment that I told you that I remember us working together in Philadelphia. I think the first time I met you was in Longside. I think you came to Longside. We had a young adult outing, and I believe you came and addressed us at that time. And so I knew him from some time. I knew him for a while now. Of course, we all grow and evolve, and we have different courses and activities in our life. But Allah has brought us back together again here to address some of our common concerns, as well as some pressing issues, inshallah. So without any further ado, Brother Imam, I'd like you to introduce yourself, and then we'll go into our dialogue, inshallah. Gotcha. Thank you.
Well, I'm satisfied with your introduction.
Alhamdulillah. Yes, sir. Alhamdulillah. So let's get right to it in relation to the concept of unity in our community. In the process of presenting this conversation to our community, we heard some concerns from the general membership, but ultimately we know that our intentions are pure. We wanted to at least connect to come to some type of common communication. Each of us have our own responsibilities and roles, and when we cross paths, I think as brothers, because that's what the theme is this weekend in regards to the brothers meeting, I think there's an obligation to each other to support each other in the good and hold each other back from the wrong. So in relation to that, how do you see unity in our community when it comes to your leadership and the community of Imam W.D. Muhammad?
Well, our unity is in Tawheed. We are distinguished by our witness to God's oneness, and the implications of that oneness is that human life and human purpose, human destiny is one. And the Islamic community that is identified in that witness are a model, are supposed to be a model of that invitation to unity. So if we can reconcile that for all of its important implications in our life, then we shouldn't have trouble for our unity. But trouble, is inevitable, as Allah says in the Quran, that we will have differences, and sometimes those differences will distinguish us, and sometimes they will be, unfortunately, areas of conflict. We have to discipline ourselves according to what is in the best interest of our humanity before God, how we present ourselves before God. That's the most important concern. And in that, we see the efforts of each other, and we should feel the obligation to support one another when we see movement in the direction of our excellence as God has determined that. So in recognition of that, excellence is a condition for our unity. We don't have to be in the same place at the same time, doing the same things. But we see each other doing well or doing good, we should salute each other. We should support each other in some material way, some acknowledged or recognized way, so that it is known that we are interested in the success of our individual efforts. And then, you know, because of those sincere efforts, there'll be opportunities for us to join one another. And we should feel that as an obligation. We should be interested in each other's success. We should pray for each other's success. And we should defend each other's success. It's not, it shouldn't be, I should say, a burden on our unity for us to have perspective that is in some measure different. We should not discourage that. In that variety is serious discussion about our progress. So I will have an opinion that's informed by our discipline as Muslims, and you will have an opinion that is informed by the same discipline. And in the interest of obeying God, we are brought together. And Allah says that in the Quran, you know, that turn your attention or your attentiveness in the direction of the Qibla, and He will be the cause for your coming together. So I'm not at all troubled by what some may call disunity. I pay attention to the perspectives of the various groups, and I'm helped by it, and I hope they're helped by me.
In relation to the group that we associate with, in relation to perspective, perception, and then not necessarily disunity, but when there are conflicts. We have, as you mentioned, our human excellence. You also acknowledge that we are Muslims and the Brotherhood of Al-Islam. And so how do we get to hold each other accountable when it appears that we haven't solidified our unity as far as in a formal or an agreed way? Sometimes when I think of the communities that we are a part of, and especially during times of election, you know, there are people who are campaigning. They're trying to go to their base. They're trying to fulfill the needs of their base in hopes that they can get back into office to benefit everybody. But they have a certain base that they are tending to. But then there are conflicts, or there are even maybe some contradictions within that relationship that sometimes doesn't get addressed. But as Muslims, we do have all these examples in the life example of the Prophet and in the Quran. So how do you see in relation to conflicts that when we have that may be the cause for disunity that we can reconcile?
To me, it's perspective.
Perspective.
It's perspective. We're invited to know each other.
Right.
In the focus of our variety,
Mm-hmm.
in the focus of our even disparity, we're invited to know each other. Lita arafu, know each other. So, you know, this term, it sort of suggests a high recognition. And also in this term is a reference in the Quran that refers to the highest standards. So if we're having perspective and work in the interest of the highest standards, and we acknowledge that in one another, I don't see that as disunity.
Right.
The only issue is if we're not correct, if we're doing something that's incorrect. And we shouldn't fear addressing this. This is one of the disciplines in our brotherhood as
Right.
Muslims, that we not fear to correct one another in the interest of obeying Muhammad the Prophet's teaching, that we should help one another in the right and the wrong. And as you know, he was asked about this, and he said, pull the person away from what is wrong. So we can't fear someone rejecting us because we're correcting them or drawing attention, calling their attention to something that is more correct. To me, that's not disunity. That's obligation. Now, in the moment, it might appear that we're not together. But if we're focusing excellence and compliance, obedience to God's purpose for human life, then we're ultimately together. What is necessary is that we have enough respect to acknowledge that we're working for the strengthening of trusts. And if you can see that a person is working for the strengthening of society and lifting burdens off people, they may not have the same language that you have. They may not have the same information that you have. They may not have the same knowledge base that you have, but they're working for the good. Well, we have an obligation to support that. And in that is strength and I would say an antidote to the problem of or the weight or the burden of disunity.
In your experience as a leader promoting Al-Islam in America and seeing the challenges outside of our community, can you address that for a moment in relation to the challenge of expressing Al-Islam in this time?
You mean in the public?
In the public, yes, sir.
I see that as the most important matter for us. And what I mean by that is the Quran, Muhammad the Prophet, predicted a time of distraction and confusion in the world, primarily coming from leadership or people who have been thought to be carrying the responsibility of leadership. What is expected of man in that time? Not very much, according to Prophet Muhammad's teaching. But he gave an answer to those that were concerned about what their behavior should be. And he said that accept the responsibility to uphold the good. So if we're promoting what is best for human life, according to what Islam teaches, then we're making a correction for the distractions, and we're giving support to those who are seeking to have clarity over confusion. And to me, it's the highest obligation that we have to present the true picture, a correct picture of Al-Islam in its appeal to support for human life in its excellence. And there's nothing that I concern myself with more than that. I believe that that is the tradition, as I have said, of Imam W.D. Muhammad. The public interactions, public discussion, representation of our message in a public way that establishes us upon an obligation to be a model people.
As a model people and a new people, you would also say in following the tradition, we should have an environment that reflects these values. How do you see in your years of experience of addressing the public life of Al-Islam, the proper understanding of Al-Islam, and us coming to expressing that in a built environment in our neighborhoods?
The responsibility of local leadership is enormous in this regard. And in the city of Newark, for example, for decades, going way back, even before I was born, the leadership in the city of Newark, associated with our community's interests, established itself with attention to the needs of the neighborhoods. Minister James Shabazz is probably, in terms of leadership, most responsible for a phenomenon that is unique to Newark, where youth in the public of Newark and their parents had an affinity and a confident association with Islamic identity. They may not have had the content of Islamic life exactly, but they had an interest in that content. And so generations of children, families, acquired and attached themselves to Muslim names, Muslim interests, you know. That as a foundation that is unique to Newark is responsible for something that has happened in these United States of America. And that is, that is our people, our community, have been distinguished as a clear reference for what Islamic teaching is and the power of Islamic teaching to reform life. Newark is a hallmark institution for that kind of influence. And as I said, it was established upon the efforts of the supporters of local leaders. Minister James Shabazz, my thoughts are racing, I can't think of Imam Hussein Shabazz, Ali Muslim, Imam Ali Muslim. These men were established upon recognition and support for the national leadership and a reference point for that national leadership locally. And they accepted that responsibility. They were successful in that responsibility. And they were distinguished because of it. And I applaud you, Brother Imam, because I know that you have accepted also that responsibility. I don't see anything that is more of a major concern for local leaders than this kind of involvement and interest in the life of the city that we live in. And we were here a few months ago for recognition, Muslim American Leadership Day, and the mayor of Newark, he was present. And he's a special man with a special history himself. And he referred to Newark as a Muslim town. Those are his words. And what he meant by that was that whether you identify yourself as Christian or Muslim or other, the influence of Islam has touched you. That's a major factor for strengthening these cities, strengthening these communities. And you know, the troubles in America and the troubles in the world can be overwhelming. But if you have leadership that can focus the most important concerns that Islam addresses and do that consistently and confidently, it will have a important and enduring influence in the lives of the people.
Excellent. So, you ready? Okay. I'll take your point. Yeah. So we take a quick pause for the calls. Inshallah, you've been listening to Community Conversations at Master Mohammed-Your. Again, I'm your host, Imam Muhammad. We're here with Imam Abdulmalik Muhammad, who's here for the Weekend for Brothers session as well as a public address. Now we'll have what I call an infomercial from our young brother, Brother Nation, who's going to present to you a few products that support our work here locally as well. And if anyone who's watching on YouTube or Facebook, if you have any questions, you can put those in the chat now. We'll be finishing up the second half after these commercials, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Nishan Sankova. So first we have the Muslim Journal. First we have the Muslim Journal. It's $3. This title is Dr. Angela Y. Davis to Gale. Interesting. And that's $3 if you would like to have one. And we have 2025 monthly playing guide. That's free. If you're interested in planning the stuff you're going to do this year, we have this perfect thing that you need. We also have a Muslim journal, a pocket Muslim journal you can carry along with you. It's a little bit of the same thing, but you can write down things that you're going to do. Same thing in the 2025 monthly planning guide. This is $5. And then we have the Clear Quran series, English only. If you would like to have Quran, and if you're not really good at reading Arabic, then this is the good thing for you. This is also free. And right here we have Changing a Nation, the legacy of Imam W.D. Muhammad. This is $20 if you would like to. I guess it's a movie, something like that. A DVD. And we have a Muslim flag. A Muslim flag like this. This what it look like. And if you're interested in buying one, then this is $15. And you have like if you want to plan your, they call it death wishes, something like that. If you have all that for janazah and stuff, all that information goes in here. Give it to the person that you trust. This is $10. This is community life reflections on the initiative of a leader. This talks about some interesting stuff. This is $20. Last but not least, as you know, we got the Chew detergent. With this little cap, this is only how much you need for one. This little cap can wash 101 loads. Can't you believe that? And it removes dirt, brightens stains, fights stains, brightens fabric, and it's halal 4 times concentrated. And you can use this like it's good, excellent for cleaning clothes, and owned by Muslims, of course, because it's halal. And yes, that's all. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Alhamdulillah. Welcome back again to Community Conversation. We thank our young brother Nishan for his infomercial and his comedic expression. Alhamdulillah. So as we finish up our interview, thinking about the next generation and youth development and education, can you speak towards that, inshallah?
You know, our interest in the social order, that is family structure, and all that is produced from families is a primary concern for all civilized people. And certainly Islam places premium attention on it. In that context is an investment in time and nurturing, providing guidance and support and encouragement to young men and women, and to take an interest in their individual condition and concerns, to respect them, to support their interest in how they proceed to contribute to the life of the community, listen carefully to them, and instruct them
and guide them, but encourage them to express themselves and accept responsibility. That is our future. And if we don't attend to it, then we are contributing to a form of destruction for ourselves. So I would think that maybe 70% or more of our attention in our local activities should be to develop young people in leadership roles.
In relation to the event this weekend, would you like to address the brother session and the public address?
Our interest there is to address the vital concerns of our folks as the responsibility of males. And not just men, the male urge, the male interest, which can be shown also by women, and supported by women. So it is a brother's need. We want to address the men, but the attention is on the male urge. And in many ways, we can see in the condition of our neighborhoods that those things are being abandoned and neglected. And it requires, if we're feeling that we have to answer to God, it requires our attention, and it requires our immediate attention. So the topic for our program is addressing the vital interest in the context of community integrity.
In relation to community integrity and attending to the male urge, we talked earlier about the importance of acknowledging our human excellence. We talked also about the importance of clearly communicating Al-Islam to the public life. We also covered briefly about the history of the leadership here in North New Jersey. You mentioned something in regards to I don't know if we really got in on the neighborhood development. I think you did address some of the concerns in the neighborhood, but in relation to a model Muslim community, I like to end on that note, and particularly because the life example of the Prophet, as you know, and Imam Mohammed shared with us, is that we have to look at the Medina model. And in that model, there are a lot of examples of the Muhajirs, those who made the migration, those who were the Ansars, those who were the helpers, and how they joined together. They shared in their resources, in their strength and protection. But there was something that they did in my studies that I always like to hone in on, that I see our community as the Muhammad Association locally, regionally, and nationally, that I think we should work to more, at least that's my interest, working towards more of us having that pact, an agreement to respect each other's property, respect each other's honor and family rights and responsibility, but also how we, as you mentioned earlier, we have a lot of resources on how to correct each other and to work together. And so I just wanted to get your insights or your perspective, as you mentioned, about perspective of how do you see this relationship of connecting our local communities, our regional and our national association, for us to achieve a common strategy for model Muslim community life.
This is a major concern. It has troubled us. Our community has struggled with the nature of cooperation and support for these various areas of leadership, local leadership, regional leadership, national leadership. I'm of the opinion and I'm borrowing from influences from religion and from psychology, from spirituality, from social concerns, from historical perspectives. I'm borrowing from all of them when I say this. I'm of the opinion that we are a special and chosen people. And we're distinguished by something that happened to us. And the insertion of Islamic life references to the framing of Islamic identity, Islamic reasoning. Something unique happened to us. We were given an ability to reason with the support of what is accepted by God in the Quran, as it revealed to Muhammad the Prophet and in his tradition. And by reasoning, I mean a tradition of knowledge and understanding that places us in a special area of responsibility. And it is noteworthy and its heaviest or most significant characteristic is that it appeals to the sensitivities of all mankind in the American environment. That requires a kind of national representation, and it requires local leaders to acknowledge the obligation and responsibility to support that. Unfortunately, it has troubled us. And there, I think, are many reasons it has troubled us. But it's necessary. And it's not necessary to invite an American public or a world public to Islamic scholarship or ritual life. But what is necessary is that we display a reasoning in a time of confusion that focuses the possibilities of human life and the potential of human life and the sanctity of human life. That's what's out of focus. And we have a special perspective on it, but it requires that we agree that there's representation for that message. And it's not to say that there isn't or there aren't quality efforts by individuals that have earned recognition and deserve recognition. I salute her, but more is needed. There's an area of struggle that we have, that we have to accept and come to peace with. And that area of struggle is that we have to overcome the burden of the plantation influence that has weakened us as a people, and progress and unity and support, leadership, expression, representation for our community, and declare that before the world in our particular tradition. So we have been distinguished in history because of our leaders, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Imam IWDM Muhammad, and so we should expect, as we were influenced to, that we should have similar kind of representation presently and in the future.
And you're saying it comes about because of a collective body or individual because that's where I think the controversies that kind of spill out, our community issues spill out, in the public life and online, and you have these different groups of the community sharing different perspectives, but yet not coming to the table to allow ourselves to agree, especially in person, I would think.
Well, this conversation that we're having now
Yes, sir.
is a positive step in that direction. And I think it's first in the conscience. It's first expressed and displayed in the conscience. We come to an awareness that this has to be supported. And if we can come to that awareness, then that's the for us to congregate and discuss the matter and be serious in the discussion. Not give way to our shortcomings.
Leave us with, inshallah, as we close.
Well, I just am happy to be here in your as your guest and in this very important, special place, the Masjid Muhammad. And something that has always impressed me, touched me deeply, and impressed me about the city of Newark and the believers in the city of Newark is the embrace and confidence in the name of your masjid. There's no better name. Masjid Muhammad.
Yes, sir. There are a few questions on. I don't know if you want to take them.
I'm saying something to a lot of people when I say that. The leaders in Newark, the Imams, the supporters of the Imams, the believers, the congregation, identified themselves. No matter where they went, they might have gone to another masjid, some other place, right? And called it something else, But when you're talking about Muslim identity in Newark, you are associating that with Masjid Mohammed-Your. Masjid Mohammed-Your. This is a very important influence. And what it says, that the responsibility to secure the environment for Islamic progress belongs to the moral leadership of Muhammad. And there's nothing about that. That's the salvation community and human society. What takes place in Masjid Muhammad.
We've had some challenges, as you know, along the way. It's no small feat getting where we are today. We thank Allah every day, coming here and seeing our young people. I remember myself coming in here as a child here and seeing Imam when he would come to Newark very often, and knowing the history of our community's leaders. And it really goes back to relationships. Uh, because of the distrust or the disconnect between brotherhood. And so it's no light matter that we take being here, working with the community here. And when we got the concern about unity, we don't shy away from addressing any concerns of disunity for the purpose of unity. Imam Mohammed-Your, as you know, and he mentioned, I think a scholar shared it with him, or someone shared it with him about the al-kalima, shahadatain. It starts off with a negative to establish a positive. And so some of our experiences, known and unknown, publicly and privately, sometimes we allow that to be a nest, as even the Prophet said, peace be upon him, that even if you go through hellfire and hold on to La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, La ilaha illallah, just La ilaha illallah, you'll be successful. So I thank you for coming to join us. I'm glad you accept the invitation to connect, to build, and to reconcile. If there's any reconciliation needed with us here and those and around our association.
Thank you, brother.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you again. So until next time, again, you've been listening to Community Conversations Live at Mohammed-Your. We're thankful to have our dear brother come and share with us. Again, they'll be here. 10 o'clock is the brother session down at the Courtyard Marriott, and then they'll have the public address at 2.
Sister Clara Muhammad, a black Muslim woman from Macon, Georgia, was an extraordinary leader and pioneer. Her contributions, especially in the development of Islamic education in America, paved the way for thousands of Muslim families to take ownership of their children's future, starting at a time when homeschooling was illegal in the United States. She eventually established a network of schools that was later named Sister Clara Muhammad Schools in her honor by her late son, Imam Warith-Din Muhammad, rahimahullah. Sister Clara Muhammad helped to establish the important role women had in early Muslim American history and was an inspiration to future generations of leaders. Without her, there would not have been a nation of Islam, or the unique Sunni Muslim community that evolved from it, one that was acutely aware of the concerns and aspirations of women. May Allah have mercy on Sister Clara Muhammad.